Welcome back. We are taking another break from watercolor in this episode because we're playing with pastels. Pastels are, well, they come in both soft or oil-based, but these are soft. They're chalky blocks of pigment. I'm pretty sure they're mixed with like some sort of binder, but the main point is they are super annoying hunks of dust, and that dust gets everywhere. It's worse than glitter, I think. Pretty sure it's worse than glitter. After I was done, there was an outline of the board that I had the paper on, where underneath the board it was nice and clean, and the entire rest of the desk is now colored in various pigment dustiness. Horrible stuff. Anyway, the reason I'm playing with pastels now is because I am trying to get into a chalk art festival, and I've never really played with chalk, but it should be fun. So I'm just trying to take the skills I already have with paint and apply them to pastels, and well, it takes a few tries to get something I'm even remotely pleased with here, but I am pleased with the final painting that I show at the end here, the rose. And there's a super creepy self-portrait coming up here too. I actually have a book on like beginner use of pastels, and that's what I was trying to follow in the first two paintings here, the forest that you see here and the next one. But following a tutorial was really just not working for me. I feel like the box of pastels I have may be so limited in color selection that I find it hard to follow step-by-step tutorial. I found myself feeling like I was doing a better job just trying to make up what was already down from the underdrawing, or even not following an underdrawing altogether. I do know from what I looked up that a lot of people who like professionally use pastels, you'll go and get just bucket loads of different colors. And the real problem with this kind of small box is that it's got tons of very, very vibrant, bright colors, but no neutrals. There's like 4 browns, 3 what you might call somewhere around like cool gray or blue, light blue, and then like black. And black is, I feel like, impossible to use with pastel. Like with paint you might be able to get away with it, even though it's not kind of great form, because you can make nicer darks than black. But with pastel it is basically the same as putting ink on, and it immediately grays out if you smudge it. Grays out any color that you put it into. I found half of the techniques that were in the Pastel for Beginners book that I was using to be really hard, and I don't know if it was the paper here, but the different blending techniques I found didn't do what I wanted them to do. And in the end I found I had to just kind of go over with just a nice strip of color that sort of made sense and not try and blend, because it turned to mud. It was not all that fun to use. The one thing I do like is the colors that come out are super vibrant. Like, if you're getting the colors correct, they look great. This is the creepy one. I did a self-portrait because I was like, you know what? The tutorials I'm having a hard time with. Maybe I can fuss about and get it to work just with what I know of form and color and whatnot. And I kind of like it. It's weird how there does seem to be a quality of realism to the skin tone and pigment. And to the pastel box's credit, there is a skin pigment chalk that I did use and augmented plenty, but This is where I kind of felt like I noticed blending wasn't nearly as helpful as just having a good idea of a general blocked out shape where a solid color should go, because it's definitely a little more posterized, but that can be very painterly. So where this looks best is where I didn't blend, and that's kind of what I looked towards putting into the next painting to come. So I can't speak as an expert on pastel. I'm hoping that these exercises are going to help me prepare for making a large chalk art piece. I felt a lot more confident after the next painting to come. But yeah, I'm not speaking as an expert here, but I will say the normal standard rules of art, value, color, form, paying attention to those helps even if you're using a brand new to you medium, and you just have to rely on basics, I suppose. But is that not the creepiest creepiest picture ever? So this is the final take, the final time of racking myself with pastels and breathing in chalk dust. It's horrible. Somehow I feel like I come back to flowers a lot. It's like, it's my thing, I guess. I like them. It's fun to draw. And when they work out, they can be beautiful. And it's almost like drawing fabric, which might be another fun thing to draw. I don't know. But at a certain point, I did start with an underdrawing, which you can sort of see in the beginning, pencil underdrawing. But I pretty quickly decided that once I started smudging and fading, I couldn't see the pencil anymore anyway. So it's not like the underdrawing was really there to help me. And I tried to change my mindset here a little bit and just focus on shapes of color and try to get the value of them correct. And it started turning out a lot better when I did that. And it kind of goes back and forth here. And the best thing that happened here was I tried to switch away from finding really dark values, and I tried to focus on just the particular couple of reds that I did have. So I started out with that blue, which I thought would be a good highlight color, and I ended up having to take it out, cover it up in the end. It didn't work out that well. But the real thing that I noticed was for this particular painting, I took some time to organize my box of pastels and do out a sheet of tiles where I organized them by color group, and so I was better able to reference the chalks in the box and pick one based on the color I already had down on a separate page, so I could kind of better gauge what it would look like in the painting. And so all of the darks and mids in the red of the flower here, they are, I think what made them work out better than the other paintings was that even though there is some blending going on here, I really did focus on putting complementary colors next to each other. So in the shadows there, for the really dark bits, I did use a dark brown, so not black, like a warm dark, but the majority of the shadow side is like a purple fuchsia color, which blended with that bright red and made a really great shadow color. I think that might be the two tricks I'm coming away from pastel with are: don't try and follow a drawing. Draw with the color. Draw with color shapes, which in reference to painting is absolutely something people say. You know, try not to focus on paint by numbers. You know, you should be trying to not see the rows. You should be trying to see what shapes there are, putting them on paper, and that at a certain point they come together if your shapes and colors and values are correct. So that's what I did try to start doing right after I started this was not trying to draw a rose, trying to draw the most obvious things that were present, and then refining and going back and refining, coming back. The other thing that I took away here is to pay attention to what complementary colors you try and mix and blend. Because with paint, if you mix complementaries, you're going to go towards neutral, gray, brown, ugly. With the pastel, like, it's hard to go back over it. So when you want a nice area to remain somewhat pure and vibrant, you can get away with putting analogous colors next to each other and having them somewhat blend and make sense, not turn gray and ugly. Not get the muddy look. And I did use the green in the background to really just have something around the flower. But I didn't really mix that with the flower. I do like about the pastels the really hands-onness of it. It's like tactile. It's like finger painting when you're a kid, you know? There's something about it where it almost feels like it might be easier than painting with a brush. It definitely feels like it might be easier, maybe particularly with pastels, just to really control edges and fade them out quickly and easily where you want to, which particularly for flowers definitely helps to create a little bit of form and depth. And it's cool too because you can very quickly go back in and swipe in a nice hard line. And so when you take a look at your reference and just look at it real quick, look away, like you can in your mind kind of hold where you need to have a harder line, and maybe sometimes pay attention to where you need to fade something out. It seems like it might be a little bit easier with pastels. They seem to lend themselves to being really forgiving about deciding how you want to have edges. We're almost done here. I ended up liking this one quite a bit. Made me feel much more confident about trying to do something larger with sidewalk chalk. It's actually tempera and chalk that they use. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna have to spend some time drawing gigantic chalk things in the driveway outside. Could be fun. The fact that my box is out of white probably is a good thing. Probably helped me not overuse white. Anyway, it was annoying to play with a brand new medium, but sometimes it helps to switch gears and do something different in order to improve what you're already doing. I like the final product, even if I didn't really appreciate using pastel, but let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.